Good morning. Today is Monday, June 14th. It is 9:07, and we're back live with Anchor Your Week. I think we're on number 21 or 22. I know we had a few weeks off. We had Memorial Day, and I was traveling for my birthday. So I'm excited to be back with you guys this morning. We've had a productive last 3 weeks. We've had a lot of weekly wins that I have not shared, and I need to update that within Anchor All Stars. I'm so proud of you guys. You're out hustling, you're out doing it. You're calling me with tough questions. We're working through, we're all working to be a better advisor, a better agent to our clients. So I just wanted to start by saying I'm so proud of you and you're doing it. Whether you believe you're doing it or you don't believe you're doing it, you're right. I'm here to tell you that you're doing it and I'm proud of you. So this morning I'm excited. I figured if we're going to break the 3 week break of having Anchor Your Week, we need to come out with the gloves on. And so I was having lunch with Greg Janicki. He's with First Community Mortgage, and I've been working with Greg for, gosh, it's probably been close to 5 years, 4 years, 4.5 years. And for me, I'm a very loyal person. And so when I discovered Greg and his company and everything that he does throughout a transaction, whether you're on the listing or the buying side, he's one of those ones that I've kept close for the majority of my business. And, we were having lunch and he was telling me that he was sharing the same content, the same teaching at another brokerage. And I said, Greg, I need you to share this with Anchor, with all of our all stars. And so, I'm excited about this morning. He is going to teach us about rapport. He's going to teach us how do we take, if you're reading Greg's emails on his Friday's Finest, for example, or if you listen to his voicemail, because you know that you call him, he may be on another line. More than likely he is. I've almost memorized his voicemail introduction. But he has this choice of words that he used. I desire to be your valued mortgage lender for life. And Greg has done that. He's been in the business for nearly 30 years, or maybe over 30 years. He's going to do an introduction here in just a second. But how do you create a business, a referral business that continues to compound on itself? And so we're going to hear from somebody that's been in the business that has coached other lenders and mortgage loan officers. He's ran businesses. He's coached people. He's working with multiple brokers. He's worked with massive teams that are well known that have radio spots on 104.7 The Fish. How do we build a business that sustains itself versus going out and having to fish every single day? Now, don't get me wrong. We still have to make the calls. We still have to do the hard things. That doesn't excuse or dismiss the things that Greg is going to share. But how do we implement what Greg has done to sustain himself and his family for the last 30 years in the real estate lending industry? So, Greg, thank you for being here this morning. I turn it over to you. Have the floor. I'm ready. I'm going to get my iPad so I can take notes.
There we go. Can everybody hear me? Give me a thumbs up or something. All right, good. You can hear me. Thank you. All right. First of all, Cody, thank you. And all the Anchors All-Stars, thank you. Those on video that will watch this later, thank you. I'm glad that you could join us. My goal this morning is to pass on some information that I consider to be very relevant that I hope will help you build your business for the future. Now, I'm going to go into a little history in a moment, but I'm going to ask each of you a question. You don't have to answer this, just to yourself. Maybe if you've got a notepad in front of you, just jot down a word or two for the reminder. And the question is two parts. Where do you see yourself in real estate in 5 years? That's question number one. Question number two is, where do you see yourself in real estate in 10 years? Now, some of you that are on this call, I know you. I've been talking to you. I know that you're relatively new to the business, and that's beautiful. Even if you're an experienced agent, more like Cody, who's been in it for several years now, the information I'm going to pass on is extremely relevant because it's going to help you develop something called a real business for the future. I call it the secret sauce. What I'm going to go over with you is not necessarily unique. What I'm going to share with you, though, is absolutely critical depending on where you want to be in 10 years. And I know 10 years seems like a very long time from now, but it's really not. And that's where I want to touch on a little history. Cody mentioned I've been in the business for 30 years or so. It's actually been 31 and a half years that I've been in the business. During those first 11 years in the business, I did two things. I originated loans. I started just like all of you started, with no database. And I had to get started. So for the first 11 years, I built an origination business, and in 1995, I started my own business and was growing that business as well. Now, 2002 came, well, 2001, our company got fairly large. And in 2002, a national company came in and bought us. I stopped originating loans in 2001 when the national company, First Tennessee Bank, at that time they had a group called First Horizon Home Loans, which is a very, very large national company. They bought us. And I became one of their regional presidents. And for the next 10 years, so 11 total, 12 actually, I did not originate a loan. So my entire database was passed on to someone else. That was gone. All my real estate agents knew, you can call me and I'll refer you to someone, but I can't do your loans anymore personally. Someone else will have to do them. So I went for 12 years without doing business. 2013, I made a significant change. And I hope what I'm about to say next does not come out as arrogant or egotistical. It's not meant that. It's meant to develop some history for you so that you can visualize yourself in 10 years. 8 years ago, 2013, my wife and I made a decision that I would get off the road, no longer in the executive ranks of the mortgage industry. As Cody mentioned, we had a very large group. At one point, I had 280 loan officers in our group. And in 2013, we made a decision to stop all that, get off the road, and just finish out my career originating loans. Well, guess how many clients I had? Zero. Guess how many referral partners I had? Zero. Just like many of you, I had to start over in 2013. Now, I will say, I did have an advantage over some of you who are brand new to the real estate industry. Because prior to 2013, I spent 23 years in the business. And much of that 23 years, I was training loan officers, training them on things to do to build a successful business. I will confess, in that 23 years, hundreds of loan officers during that periods of time that I had the pleasure of working with. Maybe a small handful actually did what they should do to build a successful business. So the ones that did, they have done extremely well. What I want to share with you is what happened in 2013, 2014, 2015, and so on, so that in 10 years, you will have a business, like Cody mentioned at the beginning of this call, that's truly a business. So let's get started. Now, you're not going to answer this question over the video. I just want you to answer it for yourself. How many people do you have in what I refer to as your database. Now, your database, in my case, let me give you an example. There are 3 categories in my database. There's my clients, there's all of you folks, my referral partners, and then there's my social network. That's my database. And I want you to remember the following words. You might want to write this down. This is pertinent for the growing of your business. Love your database. First, we love our God, then we love our spouse, then we love our children. Then we love our database. That's how important it is. And you might say the same thing that many, many people have said and that I thought about in 2013. Greg, how do I love a client database if I don't have a client database? It's not about what you have today. It's what you will have in 5 and in 10 years. So what am I talking about? Greg, what is the secret sauce? Well, the first part of the secret sauce, write that down first, secret sauce. Next thing you write down is love my database. Now, clients. In 2013, I had no clients, none. As a matter of fact, I had no referral partners, none, nada, zippo. I was starting from scratch. Now, at the age that I was at that time, somebody might say, Greg, so you started from scratch? And at that time, I was age 60. Yes, 60. That tells you how old I am. But the bottom line was, I had to do the very things to hunt, to get referral partners, to get clients that you do. I had to go out and hunt. And that's okay. I'm not going to teach you about hunting. That's something Cody can do. Today is about the secret sauce for 5 to 10 years from now. And the very first one of the very first things that I did is I built a plan, an actual written out plan on things that I would do to serve, as Cody mentioned, my client for life database. Greg, are you crazy? You built a plan for a client for life database and you had none. I had none. I had none. The very first loan I closed in 2013 was for my brother and sister, my brother-in-law and sister-in-law, Michelle's sister. First loan, beginning of 2013. They needed a refinance. We took care of them, got it done. First client. Now, the reason I'm sharing this is because I want you to realize that today, the database is very robust, and I'm going to show you how to get it there. I didn't have a database. I didn't have any real estate agents, but I built a plan for real estate agents on what I would do to develop those referral partners who might have a willingness to work with me. Now, the next part is your social network. And all of us have a social network, whether it's your church, your friends from high school, your friends from college, your neighbors, your club, wherever it happens to be, we have a social network. Do you, and don't answer this except to yourself, do you have a specific written down plan on how to take care of these people? If not, I would suggest you start thinking about it. I'm going to give you some hints on things that you can do. So the next thing I'm going to do, you've got secret sauce at the top. You have then got love my database. The third line should be CRM. Do you have a CRM? I have taught what I'm about to go through with you. I have gone over this presentation with so many real estate agents in the last 3 years. And you know what I hear most frequently? I don't have a CRM yet, Greg, because I really don't have a database. I just put it in Excel, or I've got them in my notebook, or I've got them in my phone. No. If you want to build what you thought about at the beginning of this call, in 5 years or 10 years, the time to have a CRM is today. I don't care what CRM you get. It makes no difference. But you've got to have a CRM in order to be ultimately successful with executing the plan that you're going to write down for your clients, your social network, and any other group of people that would become your referral partners. And sometimes people say, Greg, I don't know who I'd have for referral partners. You're a mortgage lender. What about me? Well, start thinking about it. Doctors, anybody that's your CPA, anybody that is a professional that you have worked with can become a referral partner. And do you have a mechanism by which you are reaching them? And the only way to monitor that successfully, especially as it grows, is through a CRM. So you want to have a CRM. So secret sauce, love my database, CRM. Now, let's talk about clients for a moment. And again, I know some of you are just building the business. You may have got your very first client or 2 or 3 or 4, and this might sound like, Greg, really going to do this? Take the time for these 3 or 4, 5, 6 people? The answer to that is, if you didn't have any, I would tell you to do this immediately. Because I'm not thinking about your business today. I'm thinking about your business 5 years from now, 10 years from now. That's what I'm thinking about. And I'm visualizing that, and I'll share why in a few moments. One of the first things that you must realize is that your business will grow, as Cody mentioned. He used the word exponentially, and it can. It can grow exponentially. Now, I had no clients, none in my database in 2013. It's 2021. It's 8.5 years later. Just my client database. And this is the part that I don't want to sound egotistical. I'm not doing it. I'm doing it so that you know what I'm saying works. I promise you it works. I've been teaching it for 32 years. I executed it myself the last 8.5 years, and I'm telling you it works. No clients in 2013. 0. Today, my client database is over 1,100 people. And I don't say that to be egotistical. I don't mean that. I simply want to bring to you the fact that this works. Now, let's go into just a few things that you can do that I believe can be ultimately successful. So the first thing is have a CRM. Second thing is have a plan. Let's just talk about clients. Have a plan on what you're going to do to reach your clients on an ongoing, regular basis. How many times a year do you want to reach them? How do you want to touch them? Now, I will tell you, you can buy plans that will take your database and they'll send them birthday cards, they'll send them anniversary cards, they'll send them all kinds of stuff. And we'll talk about the difference between that and making it personal. But before I do that, I'm curious, and because we're on Zoom, it won't work as well. If we were in a classroom, I would ask you, what are those things that you can reach out on an ongoing annual basis or monthly basis or weekly basis, whatever it is, that you can reach out to your client database to touch them and make them feel good? And if you were to start thinking about some of those things, you might think about some very basic things. Well, maybe their anniversary, things they do with their kids, their birthday, significant things that happen in their life, other just general information about real estate or mortgages or whatever it happens to be. So I'm going to lay out for you some very specific things. One second. Somebody's trying to call me and I don't want to take a phone call. I don't know how to use this phone, Cody. I swear I don't know how to. There we go. Now, next, what are the things that you can send? This is my opinion. This is not a fact. To me, the most number one important thing that you and I can send to our clients is a personalized note on their birthday. Now, why do I say their birthday? And it's because of this. Whenever you and I speak to somebody, if they should say, as you're talking with them, and they say that their birthday, and it happens to be on your birthday, immediate connection, immediate. As a matter of fact, that connection's so tight, neither of you are probably going to forget the fact that your birthdays are on the same day. 2013, I did a loan for a young man. First house he ever bought, his name was Ken Thacker, his wife Danielle. Why do I remember Ken from 2013? One reason. His birthday was the same as mine. I don't remember his wife's birthday. I remember his. 2014, I did a loan for a lady by the name of Bethany Green. I remember what she bought. I remember where it was. I couldn't tell you much else about 2014, but I remember that. Why? Her birthday is on the same day as me. That's what happens. It's a connection. And it doesn't even have to be the same day. You and I immediately build a connection with anybody whose birthday is in the same month or the same zodiac sign as us, whatever it happens to be. Birthdays connect. Now, I will encourage you. Do not buy a service that sends emails out for you or sends birthday cards out for you. Personalize it. Up until about 7 or 8 months ago, well, more than that now, 9 months ago, I hand wrote a birthday card to every one of my clients every year. Greg, why did you stop doing that? Well, with everything that happened last year, and the business grew as much as it did, I'm being honest. I'm not saying it's right. It just got to be too big. I couldn't do it anymore. But I used to send a handwritten card, and I sent a personalized email. When I say personalized, it's not just an email. And I put something in there that it personalizes it to them so that they know this was not auto-generated. It came from me because I care about them. Because Cody is a client for life. So how do you build that loyalty? How do you build that trust? By personalizing as much as you can. So first thing is birthdays, personalize it. Second thing, you can use anything. I mean, anniversary of the loan, that just makes sense. Anniversary of the closing. You were there. Many of you, you take those pictures at closing with the big key there that says it's now their house, whatever it happens to be. You go to the closing. What a great reminder on the anniversary of their loan or anniversary of their closing every year. What a great reminder. Don't let someone else send it out, you send it out. Now, again, if your business gets to the point where you've got 1,000 people in it, you might have to come up with another alternative. The email on birthday, by the way, I still do that personally, and that'll never change. Can't. Now, I will share with you. I wrote out a plan that I would reach out to my clients. Every time I'd get a new client, my plan was to touch them 27 times a year. It's now down to 24. And what we did, besides birthdays, besides anniversaries, the beginning of every month, we sent an email. And it was called, Do You Know? And I put something in there. I personally wrote it. You can buy a service that will send out to every one of your clients, and in fact, all your social network. You can send something out that you just give them a check and they'll write it out. They'll send it out every month for you. And guess what? Every other real estate agent that they have spoken to sends exactly the same thing. I receive, this is no joke. I don't know now if it's 12 or if it's 15, but real estate agents who send me their newsletter, it is exactly the same one. It comes within 24 hours, all 12 or 15. Nothing's personalized. Now, is the information in it good? Sure. Some of it I even like to steal because I think it's that good. But it's exactly the same thing. So what does that do if every one of your clients gets the same thing from everybody? But think about this. What if they get something from you that they know you wrote? I'm sure I'm not the only mortgage lender that sends Cody things on a weekly or bi-weekly or monthly basis. But I'm fairly confident that I may be the only mortgage person who personally writes the notes that go out on Friday's Finest. And I think most of the agents know that. Cody, would you agree with that? It's personalization. So first of all, you're going to have secret sauce. Second of all, I love my database. Third is CRM. Fourth is personalization. The more that you and I can personalize what we're doing, the more we build 3 magic words: know, like, and trust. Write those down. Know, like, and trust. Do you really think that every time somebody goes out to hire a buyer's agent or list their home, that they pick the very best agent? The answer to that is absolutely not. They don't pick the very best agent. Not even close. How many very best agents can there be in a market? 1? 5? You know the person that they pick to be their buyer's agent or be their listing agent? It's the person they know, they like, and they trust. So what are we trying to do as we go through to build, as Cody said, a business that's going to be a legitimate business 5 and 10 years from now? All of the first 4 things I mentioned are aimed at just getting them to know us, getting them to like us, and getting them to trust us. And I'm about my time limit, so I'll leave you with this. I can promise you this. If you will look at those 4 or 5 things that we just outlined and take a hard look at where you want your business in 5 or 10 years, begin the execution, you'll be more successful than anyone else would ever have dreamed of. Thank you for your time this morning. Cody?
My goodness, Greg, that was, I mean, I've got a lot of notes that I just jotted down. And as I'm sitting here, kind of revisiting this, you hit the nail on the head. I can't tell you how many auto-generated CRM standard emails that I get in my email inbox. And you know what I do? I mark them as spam, I unsubscribe myself, and then I delete the email. So if I am doing that in my person, it really just reflected in me. I've been guilty of that. I've done the, auto-generated just drip campaigns from CRMs. But then when you said that, it was a light bulb for me, and it's like, wow, what difference am I showing a potential client if they're getting the same thing from other agents? Because I'm not the only agent on their email list or their friends list on Facebook. So thank you for sharing that. And it's true, the Friday's Finest, the client emails. I mean, there's been times when you've beat me to birthdays from previous clients that you and I have shared. And I don't like that happening very often, but if it's going to happen, I'm glad it's with you. But just crucial information. And so, Greg already summed it up. We can't look at our business today. We've got to look long term. And I often lay in bed and think, Cody, if I would go back and visit myself in 2016 when I went full-time real estate, and if I would have said, Cody, this is where you would be in 5 years, I don't know that I would have believed myself. And you may be in that position right now. Cody, I don't know what it's going to look like in 5 years. And you may either have one or two perspectives. You're so gung-ho and so on fire and says, I'm just going to enjoy the ride. And in 5 years, I'm not going to recognize who I was when I first got started. Or the second perspective, you're going to say, well, I really don't know if I could see myself in business in 5 years. You have to do the hard soul searching. You have to dig deep and say, do I want to make this a career? And if I'm going to make it a career, is it going to be a career that my friends, my family, my sphere are all going to look at it and say, man, I am so proud of Cindy. Look at what she's done in 5 years. I'm so proud of Stephanie. Look at where she's at. I'm so proud of Jamie. Look at what she's done in 5 years. I'm so proud of Kimberly. I'm so proud of Deborah, right? The you can have a story to tell. Are they going to be proud of you, or are they going to not even remember that you were once a real estate agent? So Greg, thank you for being here this morning. I have lots of notes to study. I'm even thinking I need to go into my CRM today. I want to count up my database. I know how many friends I have on Facebook, but how many am I really genuinely loving well? And you get to the point like Greg where you have 1,100 people. For me, that's exciting. Like, I want 1,100 people to know that I'm going to love them like no other agent has ever loved them. I'm going to care for them. I'm going to fight for them. I'm going to be an open ears, open heart, open arms if they need a hug. That's what I want to be remembered for in my real estate business. So thank you, Greg. We're going to go ahead and end this recording. Thank you for all those that are here. Thank you that are watching
Thank
online.
you. Thanks. Bye-bye.